Oh, Ryan, I don't know. I don't know how you do it, man. I cannot be a Ferrari fan. I cannot handle the stress. I'm telling you, man, I was riding high after Texas, the Grand Prix, and now we're in Mexico, and Max isn't nearly as fast, and I'm over here like, fuck, I don't like it. I don't know how you do it, man. Hats off to you.
Average day in the
How,
office for me, brother. This is nothing new for me. The highs and lows happen every fucking race, so doesn't matter.
man, you got two highs though, a double podium from your boy Leclerc since Texas.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. Pissed off about Lewis and that whole shit, but we'll get into
Ooh.
that.
You know what? We will get into that because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Cooldown Rundown, hosted by yours truly, Ryan and Sam. And as always, we're going to start this off with a little bit of alcohol. Ryan, I hope you have something in your hand because let's get this pod going.
Always, baby. Let's go. Sam, what'd you think of that race? First thoughts. First thoughts. Tell me.
First thoughts, best Mexico Grand Prix ever.
It was entertaining as fuck, I will say, because it was action-packed the entire time.
Most Mexico Grand Prix are snoozers, Ryan. And the fact that it turned out the way it did, as a Formula One fan, awesome. As a Max Verstappen fan, stress. But
hey, I feel like it worked out pretty good for you, though.
I thought so too. For the boy to come up in, he started in P5 with the qualifying session, and to end up in P3, should have been P2, but what a wicked first turn incident. Where do you want to go with this? I don't even know where to start with you, man. Seriously, so much happened.
I don't even know where to start either. I guess we should start from the beginning. I mean, the start of this race, crazy. How many cars went did we have go wide into turn one?
4. Count them, 4. Check my background. 1, 2, 3, 4, motherfucker.
Yeah. Thank you. Great reference point. Yeah, and then you have Max just flying off the track. And then which lap was it when because I was like trying to get logged in and everything. What lap was it when Lewis got off track and then got the 10-second time penalty?
I want to say that was lap 3. Now,
Okay,
mind you, everybody listening to us, this is the first time that we are recording directly after the race, and I'm very excited. So our facts are a little skewed, but we're going to go off feelings.
Yeah.
But I believe it was lap 3. I believe it was lap 3.
Okay.
It was definitely in the first 5.
Okay. I just wanna hit the ground running off of this shit first, Sam, because I'm a little heated right now.
Okay. Okay.
So Lewis deserved that penalty. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely deserved it. And yeah, that was blatant. Whatever lap it was, when they made contact again and whatever, and Max got off the track, that should have been a penalty too, in my mind. And I am very frustrated with the FIA and how they handled this situation. Yet again, me bitching about the FIA here, Sam. What's new?
Hey, I'm going to bitch about the FIA a little bit later this episode. But let's get some facts straight, because Max went off wide in the first turn in lap 1.
Yeah.
And then there's like 3 incidents that happen here. Lap 1 incident, turn 1, Max goes wide, Leclerc goes wide. A little bit later, lap 3-ish, Max goes in deep and touches Lewis. That's incident number 2.
Yep.
And then incident Lewis, 3 on the rundown of turn 3, they go deep and Lewis cuts the corner, and Lewis got the penalty for him cutting the corner in turn 3. So again, what are you upset about then?
Well, there is oh man, I wish I had it on me. There is I don't know which lap it is. I can't remember because that's when I was still just getting myself situated and getting logged into F1. But I saw the replays that Max got off track 2 and had a sizable advantage when he kind of went off track 2 in around that same area. It's like in the end of sector 1 or sector 2 area, and that should have been a penalty too, because I think it was under review, and then they were like, no further action.
See, okay, so he was under review for 2 things. He was under review for his turn 1 incident of leaving the track and getting an advantage.
Yes.
And then he was under review for his collision with Lewis. Now, I will defend Max leaving the track and getting an advantage, because this is what happened. 4 wide. Look at the graphic. They went 4 wide. Max's tires went into the curb, locked up, went straight through, which, mind you, can we take a moment to just appreciate Max not going into the wall because he's literally driving in grass to not and then cut the corner. So he did. He cut the corner. But what he did is he gave the position back to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I did
He's
see that.
Yes. So whatever positions he made in that gap, he gave back to Lewis. I think there's actually a question to be made if Leclerc should have gave his position back to Lewis because he also cut the corner. He was also in the grass. It was
Yeah.
not brought up at all. I'm actually surprised by that. Incident 2 was Max going deep on Lewis Hamilton and touching wheels.
Yes, that was a collision. Okay, yep, I get it now. Yes, and in my mind, that was a cause of a collision. That should at least been something.
I kind of agree with you on that one. I don't know why that was swept under the rug. I 100% agree with you. He touched Lewis Hamilton
Yeah.
because he was too hot. I am as a Max fan, I'm surprised he didn't have it. I texted Gavin. You were not live at the moment, or you were in transit. I
Yeah.
texted Gavin. I was like, Max might lose positions here because of a penalty, like kill me kind of a thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
honestly surprised.
Yeah, and that's just I don't know, because he he dove in a little too deep, and then he hit him. I mean, it was a minor collision, don't get me wrong, but
Well, they
still,
touched.
yeah, they still touched. It should have been reviewed. There should have been something, and it was just completely swept under the rug, and that was just frustrating as a Ferrari fan. Oh, hey, but I think my pain at the first part of the race with that was paid back at the end of the race with
Sure,
Lewis,
sure.
not Lewis, with Charles and Max. So, hey, I will take that, but we can talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, there was just a lot of chaos throughout the fucking race,
Yeah.
man.
I feel bad because like I don't feel bad, but I feel like Lewis really could have avoided his penalty because he was scrapping with Max. He cut that corner into turn 3, just completely cut that chicane. And listen, there's one thing he could have done to avoid it all, which is just let up about 2 seconds. He could have lowered it. This happened back in 2021 and 2022 Abu Dhabi. He cut a corner because he couldn't make it, but he let up on the gas to alleviate the time he gained through it because he
Hmm.
gained a lasting advantage through the corner. So to me, that was a slam dunk penalty on Lewis Hamilton's part.
Oh, I agree, absolutely. I was honestly so shocked at how he just took that corner when he cut it, because like whenever he went into it, into that like the whole chicane area, there's like that little access road. I thought he was going to get himself onto that and then try to like
Yes,
go back in there, but he said, "Nah, I'm just going to keep cutting through the grass and just take an even bigger advantage." I'm just like, "All right, buddy. Well, it makes sense why he got the 10-second. I mean, it sucks
dude.
for him, and especially for him to start the race at P3. Like, great job by Ferrari to show up this weekend and to have a
Dude.
competitive car. Very happy to see that. But yeah, that was annoying and frustrating.
Ferrari, actually, let me look this up real quick. I would like to see the team standings. Actually, we could probably discuss this a little bit more in yours one, but Ferrari
I think Ferrari's ahead by 1 point now.
1 point. One
Yeah,
point. Like
baby.
this, the
Yeah.
Ferrari Mercedes championship is tight, 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 tight. And if Lewis Hamilton would performed better, that gap would be a lot more. Not better, but like without the penalty, that gap would be
Yeah.
a lot more in their favor. And I think at this stage, Ferrari is very well beating Mercedes on pace.
Yeah. And I hope that continues. We got 4 races left. Praying to God, man, they can at least secure P2 in the constructors. I'll be so happy for that.
Speaking of championships, Ryan, the drivers' championship is getting pretty tight. Maybe not so much with Max as much, but definitely on the McLaren side.
Yes, it
What do you think
is.
of how these standings look now?
Oh, dude, I don't even know because like I can't even fucking hate Lando. Well, I can still hate Lando, but like God, I mean, he had a great weekend. He just had a great weekend. He killed it in qualifying. For a minute there in qualifying, I thought Charles was gonna get pole, and I was like, let's fucking go. And then Lando just fucking whips his dick out and he's like, let me show you how it's done, boy. And just fucking clears him by I think it was like, I don't know, a couple tenths, like 3 or 4 tenths, but
Yeah,
still, it was a great run by him. Kept it alive in the first first lap, surviving the first turn. I was not expecting that from Lando, and just was dominant the entire race. He had a championship driving performance this weekend, Sam. I really hate to say that, but he really did. He looked really good. Oscar was on his back foot But he had a decent recovery to mitigate the loss of points. But yeah, the title fight is back on between the boys.
Let's talk let's talk Lando, and then let's talk Oscar, and let's talk Max. Let's go through the order of the championship leader, cuz hey, Lando is leading by 1 point on Oscar Piastri. He had a solid weekend.
Oscar had the championship lead for, I saw this yesterday, 186 days, I'm pretty sure. And gone now.
Wow. What's really unfortunate too is that a good 18 points of those was from Lando's DNF in the Dutch Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Lando straight up did kill it. He did. He asserted dominance in qualifying. Honestly, we didn't see him at all during the race until the very fucking end, when I don't even want to watch Lando across the finish line. I want to see if Max gets Leclerc or if Piastri gets Behrman, but we have to see little Lando cross the finish line. When that happened, I legit stood up. Brian, I'm not kidding. I stood up and I said, I don't give a fuck. And I dropped my laptop on my toe. I was like, I don't give a fuck. It hurt so bad. I don't give a fuck. Lando is doing really good, but Ryan, I am very curious, very curious to see how his form goes in these next 4 races. We talk about pressure, right? And I think Lando, ever since the Dutch Grand Prix, Lando has been like, meh, I'm out of it, or I'm way below. I need to just perform the best I can week in, week out. That's all I can ask for. And and I think Lando performs perfectly in those situations. And then let's rewind to Texas Grand Prix. Where's all the press? It's on Max. Even though Lando got P2 in that race, the press is on Max. They're asking Max the questions. They're asking him. But now, Lando is leading the championship. He finishes the race, and they are in one of the coolest post-race interview locations ever, where it's an actual goddamn stadium. Like, it's an old baseball stadium for Mexico. Thousands of fans around them cheering their names. Except Lando Norris, he's getting booed by thousands of people.
Dude,
thousands,
that was crazy.
It's insane.
I have a question for you. Did you, whenever you were watching the post-race interviews,
yes,
were you watching the F1 TV broadcast, or were you watching the international broadcast at that time?
I was watching the F1 TV yeah, I want to hear what you said. I was watching the F1 TV broadcast, so I did not hear what Crofty had to say, but I did obviously the interviews were still the same.
Okay, so for the audience, when this all happened, when they're doing the post-race interviews, so they talk to everyone. There are thousands that are cheering for Charles or cheering for Max, and then when it comes to Lando, it's like a small amount of cheers, but a lot of boos. A lot of boos. You could prominently hear it, and Crofty makes a note about that, and so does Karun, right? I think that's who was with him. Yeah. And they're like, what do the fans in Mexico have against Lando? What has he done to upset them? And then Crofty and Karun for like 2 minutes are just like, yeah, this is the bad part about this sport. I don't agree when drivers are booed. They were talking about how like they didn't like it when Max was booed back in the day and all of these things. And I'm just like, come on, like that's part of the aspect of the sport. Yeah, like people have drivers they like, people have drivers they hate, and for whatever reason, I mean, we have our reason, but for whatever reason, maybe the F1 community agrees with us. They're bitching about Lando.
At least the Mexico community agrees with us. It's really telling too, because this is something I actually really don't like about the TV direction, is that it happened during the ceremony, the trophy ceremony. They will lower the audience volume if they are booing because it looks bad, right?
But that's what makes it fun. Like, what the fuck
that's
are we
the
doing,
energy.
y'all?
I want to see the energy, whether it's good or bad. And you know what? And like, you can say that because like, oh, Sam's a Max stan, but hey, Max has had his fandom, and he's had being yelled at on the podium. The Tifosi, the Ferrari fan base have done both to him, and I want to see, I want to hear it. And the fact is that when this happened too, because they interviewed Lando twice, which I thought was really weird. I don't know if you caught that. They interviewed him at the beginning, and they went 2 and 3, and they went back.
They did that too after the qualifying interviews too.
Oh,
They did the same thing, and that was the
it,
first time I've ever noticed them do that. So I don't know if
it's
that's a new direction they're going to go with for now on, but yeah, that happened during qualifying too.
it's very odd. And the fact that like I think it was Hinchcliffe who was interviewing Lando, and they went back to Lando to ask a follow-up question after the top 3. And Lando just pauses as this, again, baseball stadium. Boo. And he literally like looks around, and Hinchcliffe is like, hmm. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I'll just have to take it week by week. So what I'm getting at here though is the spotlight is on Lando.
It
These
is.
last 4 races, the spotlight has been off Lando. It's been on Piastri, it's been on Max. And I feel like Max has been handling it really well. Piastri, maybe not so much. And now I'm very curious to see how Lando handles it as we go back into Brazil when everything went wrong last year. I'm very curious to see if he can keep this form when he is now leader of the championship
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the people are on him. I think it's going to be very telling. I
I
hope he's
will.
improved. He's learned. It's been a year. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I will say I really did like his response to that question about the championship and him just being like, "I'm just taking it 1 week at a time. That's all
You
I can do."
have to.
Like he really
Have to.
needs to stay in that exact mental state for the next 4 races. He has to, and I really hope he does. And I think right now he's in that perfect. He's in that perfect
He's in the
zone.
groove.
He really is. He is. He's seeing purple a little bit, and so yeah, if he can keep that up, hats off to him. If he does it, great job to close out the season, but it is going to be telling if he can handle the pressure, especially with the fans having mixed opinions about Lando right now, at least in Mexico. Who knows about Brazil here in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I will, I think it'll be telling to see how the fans react in the weeks coming. And I will say Lando just hasn't done himself any favors. I literally saw a TikTok that did it. It was a highlight reel of the reason why people don't like him. It was everything we've discussed in this podcast leading up to it. So I'm not going to go over it again. But
Yeah,
it's telling of why people are kind of put off by him just a little bit. Um, let's transition over to Oscar. He's been on the back foot for the last couple of races. He seemed to be off pace all weekend long. Qualified pretty horribly, but ended up finishing P5. Ryan, what do you think of Piastri this weekend?
I think he mitigated the loss as best as he could to only be down 1 point in the championship. I think that's what it is right now.
Yes, it is.
Um, so I'm happy to see what he was able to do during the race and kind of lock in. I just hope this man finds himself because this podcast knows we've been talking about it all season. I've been ranting and raving about Oscar, and he is just stumbling and just finding any opportunity he can to just choke this championship away for himself. So yeah, I hope he finds himself over the next 4 races. But I do think that there was a little flicker of life near the back half of this race for him to at least secure P5, which I was happy about for him, but he shouldn't be in that situation either. He should be fighting for the pole position. He should be fighting for the top spot at the end of every race with Lando.
Yeah, he straight up just did not have the pace Lando did. I mean, Lando finished what 20 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
Leclerc maybe 25, a whole pit stop ahead. He did a one stop strategy as well as Max and Leclerc. Piastri was off form, and here's the thing: is like Piastri needs to do well in qualifying because he gave himself a tall order today or on race day Sunday. You know, he because he qualified, I think it was 8th, maybe 7th after the Carlos Sainz penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really needed that P4 from Behrman. Um, VSC shenanigans that we'll get into. Uh, it's not good because he's barely getting the points he needs, and he
Yeah.
lost what I think before this he was 18 points ahead clear of Lando, and to lose all of it in one go, and Lando's
It's
ahead,
a
and you
heavy
got
hit. That's a heavy
it's a
hit.
heavy hit, and we start talking this question that if Max is now in the championship contention and McLaren's need to prioritize somebody. I said last time we were on this pod that it would be a lot easier for McLaren to make this decision if a certain boy wonder was leading the championship, and now Lando is leading this championship
Yep.
by 1 point. I think Oscar needs to really step up his game. It's been a bad couple weeks. It was a bad. He had bad performances here last year, so hopefully he gets a little bit better. I will say, Ryan, though, I was actually very impressed with his driving today. he made some very smart moves, both on Ocon and Russell. It
Mm-hmm.
like smart in the sense that like he took them in a very ballsy way, but in a way that they did not collide. Nobody went off track. Nobody got a penalty for it.
Yeah.
I feel like he threaded that needle perfectly. So I feel like maybe Oscar had, besides a VSC, he had maybe the most perfect weekend he could have had considering the circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. And like on paper, when you're looking at it from P7 to P5, it's not that impressive. But like what you just said, his overtakes on track today were very impressive. And
It's
that's
very
something that I
mature.
feel like we haven't seen in a while from him in these past couple of races. So I'm hoping that that sense of skill kind of goes back into his bloodstream again and he finds himself going into Brazil because, man, I want Brazil to be an epic race, Sam. I really do.
Oh, real quick, while we're on that, let me look up. I'm gonna look it up in here in a second.
That was a good one.
On Brazil, Ryan, I'm looking at the fucking forecast right now. We are going back to Brazil on October 8th through 9th weekend. Right now, there is projected rain that entire week leading up to it. Friday is going to be cloudy, Saturday rainy, Sunday is a dry race. I know it's like a couple weeks out, but I feel like we might get a rainy weekend, which is just
Give it to me. Give me Brazil in the rain, man. It is the best track for it.
is
Dude, I love that track. God.
phenomenal. What you love it because you're so good on the fucking game as well. Like Ryan's a god on Brazil on a controller.
For whatever reason, yeah. But also it's just a fun race to watch, and I also just like
Very
how
fun.
the track flows. I think it's
Yes,
it's a quick track, has good dynamics, good straights, good turns. So yeah, I think it's just fun all around. And every year I've been watching this race, it's been pretty epic, especially last year. Last year was fucking insane with Max
we
basically
saw it
clinching the
together, baby,
championship there. So
in person.
yeah, give it to me. Give me something good.
What do you think about I don't know if you've been reading up on the press this weekend, but Oscar has said that it is a clean slate between him and Lando. That whatever repercussions that Lando had is now off the board because of Oscar's crash into him in the sprint race. That is now clean slate, fastest driver wins. What do you think of that?
I think I want to see what that translates to on track, and let's see if one, McLaren has any shenanigans or meddling that happens with that, and two, if Oscar defies team orders. I think that's going to be a huge dynamic going into these next four races. Is going to be if the team gives him orders that is going to directly hurt him in the championship, is he if he's going to follow them or not. And so, yeah, that's what that's what I want to know. What he's talking about there.
Well, let me ask you: Do you think the team should give any orders from here on out?
No, fuck no. But I think they will. I think there will be a situation at some point in the next four races where they will try to give team orders to one of the drivers, either of them, and that's going to be telling if the boys listen and they fall in line. If they do, they're fucking idiots. If they do, they are the biggest bunch of bitches I've ever seen in this goddamn sport, Sam, and I will stand on business saying that.
I will say, now that we are in the last four races, I feel like this is the opinion of obviously you and me. I feel like it's the opinion of majority of F1 fans that, hey, hands off, don't tell them what to do, just let them race, right? But why couldn't they have done that for the first half of the season, the
Yeah,
first two
I know.
thirds of the season?
Papaya
Because
rules.
exactly, because like we get to this point that like, oh, it's only 1 point away and it's four races to go. Everything's to play for. Hey, guess what? Everything's to play for race one, race two,
Mm-hmm.
race three, all of it. Every
Every
time you've
race
been
matters.
called up,
Every point
every
matters.
because it all adds up until this moment now. And I think like that mindset to think about a season in its entirety of how things could play out in the future. And like Max getting on the radio in Italy and they're like, oh, the McLaren's a swap. He's like, for a fucking pit stop? Jesus, that's dumb. You
I was
know?
about to say, you know who realizes every race and every point matters? Max and fucking Lewis. We know that from
Yes.
2021, man.
Did you did you
Those
hear
two will kill each other.
did you hear Lewis's comments on the pre-weekend interviews?
Oh yeah, about Max.
Well, yeah, about Max and about the McLarens. They said, Lewis, what advice would you give to the McLaren drivers for in this championship battle? And he said, paraphrasing, you got to be ruthless. You got to take things into your hands. It's on you. If you want the
Yeah,
championship, it's on you. It's not the team.
especially when you're going against Max right now, because he
Yes,
is still very much a big factor in this. I know I think behind 36 points right now,
36 points. Yep.
but that's a easy swing to make happen. It really is, depending on what happens in a race. If there's a crash out or anything, that gets
Yes,
eaten up so fucking fast. So when you're competing against a guy like that, you got to be cutthroat. You got to take every opportunity you can, because he's going to.
I agree. Let's talk Max if you're okay with that. What do you think his chances are now post Mexico Grand Prix?
I still think they're pretty strong. I know everyone listening, I want you to know Sam over here was ready to goddamn kill himself after
Dude,
qualifying yesterday. This
I'm
dude
not
was
built
like,
for
it's
this.
over. It's over, guys. Fucking the car's slow. He's given up. It's done.
I'm
Yeah,
not
shut
built
your
for
bitch
it.
ass up.
I'm really not. I can't handle the stress, Ryan. My blood
Sam,
pressure.
Sam,
I need pills.
Sam, you've survived worse when it comes to watching a championship fight for Max. You will be fine with this one.
Been
I still
years.
think he has a strong chance.
I think he needs one more miracle. I think he needs one
Prob-
more
Probably, but he
miracle.
has 4 races for that miracle to
He does.
happen. And
Uh,
listen, he had a bad he where did he qualify again?
Fifth.
Yeah, he qualified 5th and finished 3rd. Like, he only moved up 2 spots, but those were big point differentials for him. To still make it on the podium despite everything for this weekend, that was still an impressive drive for him. So, I think he's fine, Sam.
It is. I think I will say this. I don't think he's in a position to win, but he's in a position to compete, which is great. And I will say, because he drove like a maniac today. He said, "Move, bitch, get out of my way." Just about on everybody, dude.
Mhm.
It was quite insane. About halfway through the race, I was feeling really shitty because I wasn't aware that Red Bull was going to do this one stop strategy that worked out really well. And I should not have discredited Hannah Schmitz, the strategist for Red Bull. Like
Yeah.
they did a really good job with the one stop
Never doubt
strategy.
her, man. She
She's
kills it.
really good. She's
She knows
really
what the
good.
fuck she is doing.
She does know what she's doing. So I think I do think it's funny because I feel like every weekend we're here. I feel like Texas was a huge swing. Texas was a huge swing in a way that like we saw it physically on paper, which gave me a lot
Mhm.
of hope. Here, I feel like Max really needs to clear 10 points a weekend to do it, and he only did 6. I think the saving grace is that Lando and Piastri are so close to each other.
Yeah, they're gonna
And
keep killing each other for the next 4
well,
races, and he's gonna
I
keep
need them to
making gains.
yes. I need them to qualify close to each other. I need them to be wheel to wheel like we saw in Texas. I need another Texas sprint race start. Not in the sense that they crash together, but the sense that they start together and that they are on each other's heels and they're feeling the pressure.
I hate to overhype Brazil because I worry that if I overhype it so much, it's going to be the most boring race possible. But Sam,
When
I
has it not
really
delivered?
true, but I really do think that this next race is going to be the one that is a major swing for Max. And I also hate to say that because one, I'm still fuck Max camp. I am, but I also respect and understand how good he is on that track. Him and Lewis, honestly, we've seen them
Yeah.
both do masterclass
Yeah.
drives on that track. If anyone is going to have a great fucking weekend, it'll be Max. Got as long as he doesn't get crashed into by someone like some terrorist like Kimmy again, he should have a really good outcome. It's going to be up to the McLaren boys to hold their own and actually prove themselves on that track.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think the odds are in your favor to have a huge swing here in a couple weeks, Sam. But we'll see. And also, if he needs to clear 10 points a week or 10 points a race, 4 races left. He's 36 points behind. He's still on
Two
track.
sprints.
He's still on track. Oh yes, and we still have sprints.
We have sprints. I'm iffy on the sprints because I feel like they are high risk, high reward, low. No, sorry, high risk, low reward kind of a thing. because I feel like on average you maybe get a 1 to 2 point swing on a championship unless you have a Texas Grand Prix where 2 people crash and you get an 8-point swing. But like I feel like I don't know, I'm very iffy on how I feel about. To me, I feel like Max has more to lose in the sprint races than he has to
Sam,
gain, in
who
my
is the
opinion.
most successful driver in sprint races?
It's Max. It's
Yeah,
Max.
so
He's
shut
12
the
out of
fuck
22.
up. Shut
Hey,
the
listen,
fuck
this is
up.
how I handle it. This is how I process my emotions. Don't deny me my feelings, Ryan.
Obnoxious.
Recognize him, please.
Sam, I don't care. I don't want to hear you bitching about anything. At least you're fighting for a championship, Sam, okay? I'm just happy my boy got a double podium in the past 2 weeks. Thank
They're
God.
fighting for a Constructors Championship.
Who gives a fuck? I mean, I'll take it, but who gives a fuck? The last thing I will say about this is in regards to Max in the championship fight, and then we'll get into VSC, is just I think Sam, he is in striking distance. That is what I will say. He's put himself into a position to be in striking distance to grab this championship by the balls and secure his 5th one. And that'll be fucking insane if he does it. I still am on the camp that he has a strong chance, and he is there for any opportunity that's going to come his way.
He will do. There is one more thing I want to say about this, and it's something you said earlier. It's about Lando Norris needs to take this season, the rest of the championship, week by week, race by race, in a way that he can just clear. Doesn't matter about the championship. It's just race by race. I don't know if you saw, they did a featurette on Max. They asked him, hey, what's going to stop you from winning this championship? What's your biggest concern about losing this championship? His answer, Ryan, it's luck. He's like, it's luck. Anything can happen. I could get wrecked into bad pit stop. I get a puncture. I could slip in the shower and break my leg. It's luck. I'm taking it week by week. And I, honest to God, think that is Max's mentality when it comes to the season. I feel like if you ask any other driver, if you ask Piastri, that driver, or Lando Norris, they go, how good is Max going to be? Kind of a thing. Max did not say McLaren at all in that answer. He wasn't worried about the McLaren's drivers. He's worried about how well he can just perform on a week basis. And I think that's the perfect mentality. And giving credit where it's due, Max has done this 4 times. This is where having that background, something to rely on,
I talk about this
goes
all the time,
a long
Sam.
way.
I talk about this all the time on this podcast, but he knows luck firsthand, Sam. His first championship.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
For sure. He knows.
Don't get me wrong. He earned that championship too in a lot of ways throughout the entire season, but the reason he won it that night was
Sure.
because of luck.
Sure.
It was luck. The stars, the universe, the multiverse aligned, and that just happened. And so, yeah, he is very much well aware of how much luck has to play into this for him. For any of the drivers, honestly, because it's absolutely correct. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
For that season, Michael Massey is Doctor Strange. They're like, how many ways do you see Max Verstappen winning this championship? He's like, one.
Out of
But
44
speaking of
million.
Yeah, 44. Speaking of that, though, Ryan, he literally said in the post-race interview, they're like, hey, how did that go with the VSC? And he goes, hey, sometimes you win the VSC, sometimes you lose them, and it didn't work out. But I'm telling you, Ryan, I am upset about that VSC because I know you're not. I know you're not because it helped Lewis, but sorry, it helped Leclerc. It robbed a one lap battle between
It did.
Max and Leclerc, but it also robbed a last battle between Piastri and Behrman.
Yeah. No, you're right. For an actual F1 like fandom watching the race, very much a shit way to end the race for the entertainment aspect, because it would have been great to see those 2 battles happen on the last lap. Sure. As a Ferrari fan, give it to me, baby. I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
give me that P2, Charles. So thank you, FIA, for meddling in some bullshit in the last 3 laps of the race to cause a VSC. Also, thank you, Carlos, for doing whatever dumbass shit you were doing to crash
he's so
out.
close to the pit lane, dude. He's so close to the pit lane. The thing that pisses me off about this is that, like, I think I texted it into our group chat. I was like, that car better be fucking cleared then if they call
And
it
it
VSC.
wasn't.
And it wasn't, because they still waved double yellow. So what was the fucking point to slow him? Don't get me started. I'm just kind of.
Hey, Sam,
I dropped a
the the
goddamn laptop on
the
my
the
toe for this
the,
bullshit.
the pendulum swings so
That's
many
true.
ways. Max didn't get the penalty for the collision with
You know,
Lewis, but he got nerfed from getting P2 with the VSC. You gotta take it. Give and take.
you know, I will say this prevented Max from getting P2, which is I think a 3-point swing, but it probably also prevented Piastri from getting P4. I think he might have gotten Behrman, maybe not. I think Max had a better chance of clearing Leclerc than he did Piastri getting Behrman. So I'll take it. It's fine. Just a little like in the moment, dude. Little heated. You know who else was heated?
One of the silver arrows, buddy.
Dude, George
My
Russell.
God.
I'm telling you, everybody, this is the true George Russell we saw today. Everything else you've seen is a facade. It's basically that Nacho Libre mask he wore this weekend. That's his persona. What we saw on track today, the amount of curse words we heard, that
I
is
think
the
I'm
real George Russell.
I think I'm becoming more and more of a George Russell fan. I really
yeah,
am.
you are.
Because
yeah,
dude,
you are.
because I'm here for it. Like, this dude doesn't want to fuck around, and he was so goddamn pissed off. So for the people that didn't watch the race, so in like the second half of the race, he is backed up behind his teammate Kimmy, and Kimmy's just driving slow as fuck. And George says to his engineer, "I'm faster." His engineer says, "You're free to race." And then he tries, and Kimmy fights back. And then his engineer's like, "Hey, let it off. Cool your jets. The brakes are on fire, essentially." And George is like, "We can get a fucking podium. There's a Haas and a fucking Ferrari that I know I can catch if you just let me go in front." And they take forever to swap positions, while at the same time, he's got fucking Oscar Piastri hot on his ass. And he's just screaming into the microphone to his engineer about this for like 5 or 6 laps. Crofty and Karoon were, and I'm so happy they talked about this. They're like, why didn't they do this earlier? And it reminded me, Sam, I forget which race it was. Maybe you remember, but the same situation happened with Charles and Lewis earlier in the season. Lewis was much faster than Charles at one point. They needed to make the swap. Lewis was advocating for it. Ferrari was like, no, hold position. They waited like 3 or 4 laps, and then they finally made the swap. And by the time they made the swap, Lewis's tires were too
Too
cooked,
late.
and they had to swap him back again. And it was a dumb decision by Ferrari then. It was a dumb decision by Mercedes now. So yeah, that was interesting.
I believe it was China. Actually, China. I didn't get it wrong with
Really?
Spain. China. I believe so. That's when
Wow.
that was Lewis's it was Lewis's suggestion to switch with um
No,
Leclerc
no,
for
no,
the
no, no.
pace.
So that happened. Yes. Okay. That's for context. Yes. Lewis offered to switch, not swip, with Charles because he knew that Charles was faster at that point in the race. But it was like the next
Yes.
race or 2 races later that this situation happened, whichever one it was. And Lewis was obviously faster than Charles wasn't. And then, yeah, Ferrari was just sitting around, just fucking, I don't know, watching TV or just fucking around, getting high, whatever, some dumb shit. Not making a decision to help them out. And it fucked Lewis bad. And it fucked George this race because he got overtaken by Oscar in the end. And if he had those extra few laps in his tires, he probably could have held him off.
I will say I feel like George was the perfect district attorney in that moment. He was laying his case out to his prosecutors. He's like, fuck me, I got a fucking McLaren straight up in my ass. If you want me to get by, I can get by him. Let me go. It was quite insane. That's, to me, that is the true George Russell. And listen, I know you gave a little bit of the heat to the Mercedes, but guess what? I'm giving them praise. I think they did a solid job making the call to swap George and Kimmy. And then when Piastri made his way through both of them and George could not get Behrman, Kimmy's like, hey, that's my place back. There was no hemming and hawing. There was no, well, let's go out. There was no from either Mercedes or from Russell. And they gave the swap back. I thought that was
Well, no.
excellent.
the second half of the swap made sense. It was
First
the
one?
first half should have just happened a lot sooner in my mind, Sam. I think
I
that
mean,
should have been
yeah.
like instantaneous. Like, okay, you're obviously faster. Go get him, boy. Shake him. And yeah, they
It's
did.
a
They
hard
just
call
sat.
to
They
make,
just
I
sat
think.
around their dicks in their hands, and they're just like, let's just wait and see what our new golden boy can do. Come on, he's trying so hard.
I don't know. I think it's a hard call. I don't blame Mercedes for doing it. I think they should. I will say maybe they should have done it one lap earlier, but that's an immediate call to do when Russell asked for it, because I can see why a team would be hesitant to do it. And like, you know, in the context of the race, George is approaching Kimi, Piastri's on their ass, and they're like, "Well, let's just see what happens." Like, I can relate to that. Let's just see what happens. And then George asks for it, and it takes a minute. Like, this is the beauty about F1 is we're arguing about like how quickly they make a decision, and it's literally one lap, a minute and 17 seconds. Like, we're talking about it longer than Mercedes had a chance to actually think it through. And so like I just kind of give them praise for doing it. Maybe they should have been faster. Um,
I'm going to be
you
critical
know,
of them because I've seen it from firsthand experience as a Ferrari fan, how frustrating it is whenever they are too long on the decision-making process. Like, I know it's
sure.
quick, but you have to make
I
those
mean,
decisions quick. That's this sport, baby.
I mean,
So I will be critical of the first half. When it came to the second half and they swapped back and George didn't fight it at all, good job on them. That was the right call. I'm just
yeah, it's
frustrated for
praise.
George in that first part, and I understand why he was screaming and bitching into his microphone.
Because he had pace, just not enough to get Behrman. He had pace.
Yeah. Speaking of Mercedes, Sam, we haven't talked enough about Kimi, and I want to know what's going on with the rest of the rookies and rookie watch. Jesus Christ, people.
Well, the rookie watch was pretty interesting this season, or this race, I should say. All right, all right. I've had too much to drink. We'll be quick about it. It was pretty straightforward, to be honest, for the most part. Kimi was pretty impressive. He made some moves. He out-qualified. I'm sorry, he outraced George Russell, but pretty good. But let's start with qualifying. Behrman beat his teammate Ocon. He got into Q3, finished P10, to be kind of expected out of the top 9 drivers, beating him by 2 positions. The only other people that he was the only one to beat his more experienced teammate. Now Hajar got 9th and Liam got 15th. Just to kind of give a little bit of the V carb aspect of it. Now with the race, the only thing that really happened, because honestly, not much too happened with these rookies here. Lawson DNF'd super early on, so we kind of lost that Hajar Liam thing. I will say, the talk on the streets, Ryan, ear to the ground, Hajar has a contract with Red Bull for next year. That is what the talk is. Now, anybody who is new to F1 or even the old heads listening to us here, F1 is all about rumors. It's kind of about what you hear. If you hear everybody saying the same thing and it's not officially confirmed, it's most likely true and you're just kind of waiting for it. So, I would put money on that Hadjar is going to race for Red Bull next year.
Well, hey, early congratulations to the end of his career. That's all I have to say about that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, who knows what 2026 has to bring? I mean, that is.
Did you quick pause?
Yeah.
Did you see the interview response that Checo gave about the second Red Bull seat this weekend?
No, I only caught a little bit of Checo's stuff. I heard a little bit about him talking about Cadillac. What did he have to say?
So I forget who it was, but someone asked him about the second Red Bull seat and what his thoughts were, and he said that essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, the second Red Bull seat is destined for failure, whoever it is. You could put, and he said, you could put Lewis in there. You could put Charles in there. You are going to have a horrible time driving that car in comparison with Max. So that I think that speaks volume for what the future holds for Isaac, unfortunately.
Well, do you think Perez was coming from an aspect of the car's design around Max, or that Max is so good it's hard to like compete?
I think it's both.
Him?
I think it's
it
both.
Could be both. I think that's true.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think that car is absolutely designed around Max, but even Max struggles with that car, and he has to fucking throw his whole ussy into performing the magic voodoo bullshit he does to begin with. But he's the only one on the grid that can do that with that car. no one else can do what he's doing with that car. I don't know how Red Bull is engineering that bullshit to make it drive the way it does. That's something that they need to work out on the factory to make it easier for a second driver to drive that car. But as of right now and how they are developing that vehicle, I agree with Checo. Look at the history of what happened with Red Bull in the past with other drivers. So it
I
was just something
will,
that was interesting, I thought.
it is very interesting. And actually, to go along with that, it goes to similar to what Albon said about being a teammate to Max. When he drove the car was way, way harder when Albon drove in 2020. And it was Albon described it that the sensitivity, like if you were playing Call of Duty, the sensitivity is at 100, where it's insane of how much precision you have, and you have to be so good to dial it in. And Max could do it, whereas maybe other people couldn't. And I will say this for Hadjar's possible career future in Red Bull, I think, especially if Max wins this championship, Laurent Mekies deserves to keep his role as team principal for next year. There's been a
Absolutely.
huge turnaround in culture and performance since he's taken over in these last couple of races. Next year, who knows what happens next year, by all means. But Lauren Mekies might bring this certain kind of culture that might be more inviting for Hadjar.
I
And
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. But we also have to take into consideration that Red Bull is making their own engines next year with Ford. So it's a big toss up
Good luck.
of what, honest to God, good luck. So yeah, that's where we're at. Little side tangent. Let's get into the race. Lawson DNF'd a little early. Bortoletto did beat his teammate, but that's because Hulk DNF'd. And you know who else beat his teammate? Antonelli, P6, George Russell, P7. Uh, I will say, I will give the shout out rookie of the week to Antonelli, because I thought he had some solid pace. He had some solid moves. But there's really one person to give rookie of the week to, and it has to be Oliver Behrman, dude.
Okay, I misheard you. I thought you were giving to Kimmy, and I was about to be like,
No,
"Excuse me, sir. Excuse me."
no. Behrman to be P4, his career highest finish in a motherfucking Haas.
In a
He beat
Haas,
in a
man. Come
Haas, man.
on.
The team with the least amount of money. He beat his teammate Ocon, who finished P9. He qualified P10, got into Q3, moved up 6 positions. He tumbled with Max and held his own in those S's. Did super solid. And mind you, Oliver Behrman is only 2 points away from a fucking race ban. Like he is so close to
He's
fucking up
threading that
his
needle.
He's threading that needle. So like he had to be perfect, or he would 1, get a penalty, and 2, get a race ban for the next race. So for him to have that kind of pressure on him and to finish well, congratulations, Behrman. Amazing stuff. The only thing that he could have done better was get a podium, and I think that would have been the cherry on top for random podiums this year.
Crofty and Karun were talking about extensively about the potential of him getting a podium, and I would have loved that, but Max doing Max things. A quick side tangent, real fast.
Yes.
Another thing in the rumor mill right now. I don't know if you've heard any of this yet, but a lot of talk has been going on with Ferrari and Charles's future.
Oh,
And
hadn't heard it.
so in the rumor mill for the Tifosi over here is next year is a big decision maker for Charles and his team and his camp, and makes sense. If the car is there, I think he's going to resign, and that'll be fine. If the car is not there, he's looking at future prospects at other teams apparently, and he's already let Ferrari kind of know this. If Charles ends, yeah, honestly, good for him. I want my boy to prosper, and if it's not a Ferrari, go where you need to go, King. Get your championship wherever you have to. If he does leave, though, what I'm trying to say is I hope Behrman is the one that moves up to Ferrari, man, because Behrman is killing it, and I think he has the right stuff to kind of take that seat if it ever opens up. That's all I wanted to say.
I do think, Behrman came from the Ferrari rookie program kind of a
Yes.
thing. And he was the reserve driver and drove for them when Carlos Sainz's appendectomy. Yeah, I think you might be right, Behrman. I think he has a little rough edges that needs to be shaved off. But hey,
Yeah.
this is what the season's for. It's the rookie season. Honestly,
well, and this
Ryan,
is also if this move happens, this would be the start of his 3rd year potentially in F1. Those edges would probably be roughed out by then. I mean, look at Oscar in his 3rd season right now.
Yes,
Fighting for a championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, yeah. So
No,
I think
exactly.
that'd be
And
good.
like,
I think that'd be a good move, So maybe
honestly,
for the
Ryan,
future.
I think, call me crazy, but
You're
I
crazy.
think, no, I think Oliver Behrman should get that penalty, his last penalty in Qatar, sit out Abu Dhabi, and start 2026 with a fresh point slate with no penalties. Like
Not a bad
I think he
idea.
should go. I think he should go as hard as he can these next 3 races.
Who do you put in
Get
that
it
seat?
out of his system. To get him out of his. Who gets in that seat?
Who do you put him? Who do you put in that seat for that race? I got
Uh,
mine right off the dome.
Danny Rick.
Kevin Magnuson, baby. Put him back in there. The
They keep
real
pulling me
terrorist.
back in. Yeah, the real one, the original terrorist.
Yeah, I would love that. So I'm with you. Sure, Behrman. Get the race ban. Get K Mag in there just for one race of chaos, Sam, at Abu Dhabi. I would love it. Would love it.
So when it comes down to the worst rookie, it really comes down to the last man out. There wasn't much going on for the rookies this specific race here. So, I think Behrman had the highest of the highs, but the rest of the rookies were kind of just meh, meh, meh. So the worst rookie is going to go to Franco Colapinto, and that goes for a couple of reasons. I'm sorry, you're driving in the Alpine, and you're a French team. It sucks. It's bad. I apologize for your situation. I don't know if you have a contract next year. You finished a lap down, and you were the last driver to actually finish. Everybody behind you DNF'd, and your teammate beat you. Yeah, so it just is what it is. So Colapinto. Sorry.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Ryan, I know that the drivers' championship is pretty tight. Oh, I'll save it. I know the drivers' championship is pretty tight. The constructors' championship is pretty tight. I would like to know how it views in your point system. And I have a question for you. I have a question for you once you get through your points. But let me hear it,
buddy. We had a lot of movement this week, so let me pull this shit up. Let me know when you can see the screen.
I can kind of see it. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We're good to go.
Okay. So I'll start with constructors. We actually had some movement, Sam. Thanks to Behrman and Esteban, we actually had some movement. So 1 through 5 stayed the same. McLaren, champions, whatever, 745 points. Congratulations. Ferrari, P2, 592. Mercedes, P3, 565. Red Bull, P4, 539. Williams, P5, 371. Haas took the position back from Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls took the position back earlier in the season. Haas is at P6 with 353, and Racing Bulls is now at P7 with 341. Aston Martin stayed the same at P8 at 310. Same with Kick at P9 at 293. And Alpine holding up the rear at P10. But hey, they at least eclipsed 200 points, Sam. They have 207 points now. So hats off to Alpine. They're trying their hardest. When it comes to the driver standing, Sam, we had some fucking movement.
Hell yeah, we did.
So, Oscar still holding his own at P1 at 379. I think by next week or the next race, I'm gonna have to really start checking the points out again to see if he's eclipsed the championship because I think he's pretty close right now in my point system. We have a tie for second right now, with Max and Lando at 366 apiece. George is at P3 with 354. Charles is P4 with 307. Lewis is P5 with 285. Kimi moved up one position to P6 at 211. Alex dropped down one position to P7 at 207. Oliver, with his huge fucking swing this weekend, moved up to P8 at 185. And Yuki dropped down one position to P9 at 183. Isaac moved up two positions to P10 at 169. Esteban had the best weekend out of anyone for my point system. Moved up three positions to P11 at 168. Carlos and Nico are tied for 12th. They both dropped two positions, are tied at 164 apiece. Fernando dropped down one position to P13 at 158. Lance moved up one position to P14 at 152. Liam dropped down one position due to the DNF, obviously, at 148 at P15. And then there is a tie at P16 right now with Pierre and Gabrielle at 129 apiece. And then Franco pulling up the rear still at P17 currently with 68 points. It'll be a miracle if this man even breaks 80 points at this rate, Sam, by the end of the season.
Okay.
That is the point system right now. So what is your question?
My question is, I think we have established that your point system is a very representative of the aggregate score of the overall finishing places. And I have acquiesced that I think we definitely need points for the bottom 10 to just give a participation award for finishing kind of a thing, especially now that the cars are, a lot of people are finishing these, there's not nearly as many DNFs as we used to have. That there's no reason that just because you got ninth, you should jump everybody behind you, kind of a thing. So I agree with you on that. But let me ask you, now that you've done this for almost 3/4 of the season, almost all of it, um, which one do you kind of like better? Because I like the idea that the point swing differences between the positions mean so much. I was literally hoping for Max to get second so he could get 3 more points.
Mm-hmm.
And other fans are hoping Piastri gets fourth for 2 more points, you
So
know?
I think the better question is, Sam, is how do we make oh excuse me, my God. How we make my point system not only equitable, because that was what I wanted to do this season, was make it equitable not only for the teams but for the drivers. I think that was the biggest goal. Mission accomplished. We have figured that out. There needs to be points in the back half of the grid in some capacity, as
Yes,
long as
I
you
agree.
finish a race. The next question is how to make it still entertaining enough for the front half of the grid for some battles and some point swings. And I do agree with you there that it is not nearly as entertaining right now in my point system because Oscar is still holding a
Yeah, he's so
commanding
high
lead over
away.
the championship. Like, he's probably still going to be the runaway in my point system
Yes.
unless something insane happens over the next 4 races. He probably has it in the bag. So I agree with you there because it is more entertaining right now that in the real point system, Lando now is leading by a point and Max is on the charge, 36 points behind. In my point system, if Max was 36 points behind, we'd
It's
be like,
gone.
there's no chance, absolutely no chance at all. But we're talking about this like he is there. He has a real opportunity to still win the championship. So yeah, I think at some point we're going to have to talk about it and figure out how to mix both, where you have an equitable representation across the grid, but also make it interesting enough for some dynamics and some swings race by race.
I think, just spitballing off the top of my head, I think a good compromise is from P20 to P10 is a 1 to 10 point difference. You get 1 point for 20th, and then all the way up to P10, you get 10 points.
Yeah.
And then I think from 10 to 1, you have that same points gap, maybe +1 that we have now. So
Yeah.
that you get, once you're above 10 points, you start getting a boost for ninth. You get a boost for eighth. You get a boost for seventh. You get a boost for sixth. And obviously, you get the most points and then some for a gap between 1 and 2. I think it's something to, because I think that point gap between 1 and 2 being 7 points, because you get 25 points for a win and 18 for second.
Yeah.
I think that 7 points is that's the hugest point gap you can get. And it really entices the drivers to go for it, kind of a thing. I think that there might be a nice compromise between our two systems. I say we hash this out, we sell our plan to the FIA, we make our billions, and we retire, and we do this as our main gig. That's
I
what I
agree.
think.
I agree. And I think there's real stake in the game for this. And I think that will help us really propel this podcast to where it needs to be. And we can get some good sponsorship finally. And maybe some galaxies.
Well, Ryan, I've been having some beers. I know you've been having some beers.
Fuck
And
yeah.
the Mexico Grand Prix, maybe some drivers are having a little bit of a tequila. Which one would you like to discuss for us? Our designated driver or our drunk driver of the day?
Fuck it, Sam. Let's go for the drunk driver. I'm feeling a little frisky right now. I wanna talk about this one.
Okay. Who do you have in mind?
My guy is someone who was eventful throughout the race. He wasn't well known in the front of the grid per se,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
he had some moments where he caught the limelight. He might have been speeding a few times, Sam. My pick is Carlos Sainz for drunk driver of the day.
Okay. I like it. I like the speed limit infringement. That's a slam dunk penalty right away.
I mean, twice. He got it twice. Like
Did he
he
really?
Yeah, he got it twice. Like in my mind, Sam, when I was building up my case for this, that's like driving through a school zone when the lights are flashing. Like
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
you just don't do
you
that.
don't
Like
do it.
yeah, if the lights aren't flashing, you're fine. Class is in session. You don't have to worry about any kids running across the street. If it's flashing, you fucking slow down so you don't hit a goddamn kid. This idiot did it not once, but twice, Sam. And I know there was a lot of other shit across the race that we can argue about, but to me, that's just a slam dunk. But who's your pick?
I'm honestly surprised you did not pick the guy I'm going to pick because I think it's hands down Max Verstappen.
I'd say I thought about Max too. I did too.
Dude, he completely cut the corner in turn one. He banged wheels with Lewis. He locked up at least 2 to 3 times. Like that first 6 laps was quite literally like, and I appreciate it because he was driving pretty angry, pretty aggressive. But from the outside looking in, I mean, the man was all over the place. This is the guy you would see on the road, and you would call the cops on. And you'd be like, "Get this guy off the." He's driving like a maniac. To me, I feel like he's the drunk driver of the day.
Yeah, and like, it's tough, Sam. It's really tough because I do hear what you're saying, but in my mind,
But
it's
I
just
don't
like,
care.
yeah, I just don't fucking like what you have to say, Sam. That's all I'm trying to say.
Now you got a clean sweep last week. Give me this one.
But hold on, let me plead the case here real fast, Sam.
All right. All right.
It is just like you don't fucking speed in the pit lane. That is like the most common knowledge thing to do. Like, okay,
Right. You speed all the time.
Max can be bumping around, playing bumper cars
Which one's
or whatever.
worse, speeding or hitting somebody?
Apparently, no. Apparently, speeding is
I'm not
worse
asking
in
the
the hands of the
FIA.
FIA.
I'm not asking the FIA.
The
I'm
FIA
asking
is
you,
on my
Ryan.
side right now, you motherfucker. They say bumping cars is completely fine. They're like, didn't see anything. Don't mind me. You speed in the pit lane twice, we're gonna fucking hang you. Okay,
All right,
so
all right,
in my mind, I think
all
I'm right, but
all right.
let's ask the fans. Let's ask the fans.
Yes,
what they
100%. Let's ask our 2 fans
think.
what they think.
Chat,
I'm right. Vote for Sam 2026.
Vote for Ryan 2028, y'all. Come on. Vote Carlos. Come on. You know I'm right here.
Come on. Max was more of a maniac.
I don't know. Carlos is just pretty stupid if you ask me, but sorry.
It is a dumb make. Yeah, I will say speeding in this pit lane, Jesus Christ. Speeding in the pit lane is the easiest thing to avoid, honestly. And it's a slam dunk.
And that's why it's so easy to call him for a DUI. Because, like, don't fuck that up.
Yeah, but that's like one incident compared to like the 4 that Max was under investigation.
But twice. Sam, listen, my last thing here is I will plead is Max was honest to God just doing a typical drive in Michigan, okay? That is some shit that I would see
So you're saying
daily.
Michigan drivers are drunk?
They're just fucking insane, and I will say that, man. I saw some shit when I lived there. It was a war every day just going to work. So that was just an average day for Max just commuting to the office, if you ask me. But I rest my case, Your Honor. Sam.
Well, we'll leave it up to the jury.
Yes, Sam. I want to know who is your designated driver of the day.
To me, this is a really easy one, and I kind of hate to say it, but it is Lando Norris. I mean, when we talk about Lando screwing up the first lap, and the first lap getting off the line and holding the line in Mexico, especially in Mexico, it's so easy to take the person in first to get around and get him in second. I feel like the person who in first has not won that many Mexico Grand Prix, and for Lando to just dominate in qualifying and to transition that into a turn 1, lap 1 lead, and then like we didn't see it for the rest of the race because he had it under control. If like I wanted a nice, easy, smooth ride, it'd be Lando. To me, that's hands down the easiest designated driver. It pains me to say.
I hear you, but
tell me you have.
my only other my pick, because like I'm okay if we pick Lando for this. Because you are right. He had a beautiful drive. He had a great weekend. He really did, and I'm okay with that. The only other person I would consider is honestly Oliver. I think he drove a beautiful race.
He was solid.
especially in a shitbox of a car of a Haas, to do what he was able to do and to be a contention. I'll just say contention for a podium in a Haas was pretty impressive for me. That was the only suggestion I had, but I'm okay with just giving it to Lando for this one because I think he had a great race.
Yeah. I think, Oliver, he gets the best rookie, but I think like just as a solid drive, considering Oliver didn't have the pressure of like a championship on his back.
Yeah,
You
that's fair.
Lando
That's
just
fair.
he just had a solid drive.
I agree with you. I concede. I concede. That's fine.
Now I know who my mad dad is.
Me too, and I think we
There's
both
only
have the same
one.
one.
There's only one.
The angry Brit.
Dude, it's George motherfucking Russell, dude.
Goddamn right.
On that radio yelling. There's so many blurps and bleeps.
I put 3 notes in my phone today about this race, Sam.
Yeah.
One was about Max and the penalties, not non-penalties. 2 was the Mercedes carfuffle with the swapping, and 3, and this was the quickest one for me to write down, was George pissed off experienced driver of the day after he had those radio messages, because my God, he deserved that. So slam dunk there at least.
Slam dunk, easy one. I'm curious to see what the jury says about our other one, but who knows what happens. Now, Ryan, we got 1 week off. And then we are into Brazil. We have a sprint race. I'm gonna change the question on you. I'm gonna change the question on you.
Throw it at me.
Who do you think is leading the championship at the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix?
That is a great question, Sam. I think, and it pains me to say this, I do think Lando is still going to lead the championship in Brazil. Unfortunately, I just have a feeling. I don't like it, but I see it. What about you?
I'm gonna go with Oscar. I'm gonna go with Oscar. I think he's got 2 chances to gain at least 1 point in the gap. I think Lando has a solid chance because I think he might be a little bit stronger in Brazil. But I'm gonna give my flowers to Oscar. I think he has a good chance.
Well, let's find out in 2 weeks, buddy. I'm excited to talk about it.
Can't wait to see you, Paul.